And we're live now. Good night to everyone from the US, and good morning, good afternoon to other people who may watch us from other countries. This is my channel, CW Sports, when I do sports content and interviews with athletes and sports related people. And today, join me from the Philippines is Joe Clough, boxing trainer, and who is my guest today, and we're going to talk about his career. So, Joe, welcome to my channel. So good to have you here, and what a pleasure and what an honor to have you here. How are you?
You very much. I will enjoy it.
Okay. So anyway, let's talk about like your beginnings, where you grew up, and how do you start with boxing?
Okay. I grew up in Tacoma, Washington, and I played sports in high school. I was a box and player, and then I got into boxing at the YMCA. I started training with some pro boxers, Mike McMurtry, who were very famous boxers. Then at the boys' club, I started with children at the boys' club coaching. First, I started coaching football, and then I later started teaching boxing. And they gave me a small closet boxing where the uh, balls were at for basketball. It was very difficult to coach in a small room. But then they let me get. Then later on they gave me a back room where I could put up a ring. So we put up a ring and started training in the back room. And then years later, when I was successful in having national champions, they built me a gym upstairs in the boys' club, where it was had a shower and hot water and a full gym. The city of Tacoma built it. My first boxer who won the Olympic Games was Ray Seals. He was the only American in 1972 to win a medal, and he started with me at 14 years old. He and his brothers, he had four brothers, and they all boxed. Uh, One boxer, his name was Dale. His brother named Dale was a very good boxer. He beat Marvin Hagler in the nationals in the semifinals of the,
Wow.
and Dale was a very good boxer also. Steele's family. And later on in 1976, I had Leo Randolph, who you interviewed already. Leo started with me at 9 years old, and he and David Armstrong. David Armstrong was also on the Olympic and 76. David was one of my best boxers. He was he won the Pan American Games in South America. He beat the Cuban in the finals, and he was a very talented boxer. So I had many good boxers, but those are some of the good ones. Johnny Bumpus, Rocky Lockridge,
Wow.
uh, many good boxers that started with me as children, you know, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Okay. But let me ask you something. Have you ever boxed? You ever had the chance to fight either as an amateur or as a pro?
I fought a couple of bouts. Uh, I fought Ray Seals' brother, Sonny Seals, out at the army base, and I beat him. And then I fought another battle. But then I felt like since I was older and married, and it wasn't time for me to box, so I stopped boxing and started coaching because I thought I could do better being a coach than being a boxer.
Okay. Okay. So tell me, like you mentioned, you led Sugar Ray Seals, and I bet that you trained him, that you led him to the gold medal. So tell me, so how do you feel when you led a fighter to a gold medal? In this case, which Ray Seals at the 1972 Olympic Games. How do you feel?
I felt good because he was a talented boxer, and of course, he won the nationals. He won the uh, national titles and won a lot of fights. And he was a very positive boxer. He was never always I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. He had those. So he was my first big champ. I went to the '72 Olympics. The city of Tacoma had me baseball game, the baseball game, and they were running for me and my wife to fly to. So that was a great experience for us.
Okay, now let's talk about the time that you also you helped, you train Leo Randolph to win the gold medal at the 1976. So how do you feel when you helped Randolph win that medal at the 1976 Olympic Games? How was that experience for you?
We were there, and we were very happy to win the medal. I didn't have any money left because I spent all my money going to the nationals and taking the kids there. I had to hitchhike from Tacoma, Washington, Montreal, which took 5 days. So then I finally got to Montreal, and I church in a Catholic church. And I would see David and Leo every day. They would bring me tickets, and sometimes they would bring me some food, so I didn't have to pay for food. In the city of Seattle, the the national newspaper there followed me in my hitchhiking, and they listened to me on broadcast where I was at. And after I won the Olympic gold, they raised
Oh,
they paid for my flight.
wow. Well, I see. And okay, and let's talk about the time that time that you led Leo Randolph, because you also joined him as a when he was a professional, and you led him to the world title against Ricardo Cardona back in 1980. So how do you remember that night when Randolph became world champion against Cardona?
When Leo finished the Olympics, he didn't want to box anymore, so he quit. And then later on, maybe a year or two later, he come to me and said, "I want to box because I miss boxing." So we started training, and we spent some time with other coaches and other people. But it was always me and him. He lived in my house, best man at my wedding. So we were very close. So getting him ready for games was a big process because we had many good boxers at that time. I had a boxer named, of course, Leo, Rocky Lockridge. He could have went to the Olympics for the 1976 Olympics also because he was a good boxer. But when we went to the nationals for the tryouts, we won the National Golden Glove Team Trophy in 1976. Rocky said, "No, I can't go. I'm in a band. I play music, and I need the money." So I said, "Don't go." It's sad he didn't go because he could have also been a winner. And so '76 Leo was also the gold medal winner, and also I was the coach of the year in America 1972, '76, and '77. So I was the only coach of the year 3 times.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned you mentioned Johnny Bonfas was world champion. So how do you describe describe him, how good he was when he trained at George Jim in Tacoma, where you can talk about his amateur career, how good he was.
Started about 12 years old. He was a boxer. He was a very disciplined boxer. He stayed with me for a long time. I coached him in the nationals when he made the 1980 Olympic team in amateur boxing, but the boycott, the American team didn't go to the 80 Olympics, so Johnny didn't get to go. But I still had him, and I had another boxer named uh, boxer win the 1980 also. So we had two boys for club. But the,
Okay,
so Johnny went asked me if he could box for Lou. So I said, yeah, you could box for. He had money. Lou was sent us some money, but pro. So I boxed for Lou for a long time. But he still was always my boxer. He always felt that I was his coach. In fact, I was with him. We had a boxing a couple years ago. He was there, and all the boxers were there, and 5 days later, he died.
okay. Oh, tell me, and do you know why the 1980 Olympic Games were boycott?
It was up to President Carter, and Carter said, "No, we're not going because they didn't like the politics, and Russia was where the Olympics was." I took a team to Russia in 1979, so we thought that one of my boxers got a gold medal there in the Russian tournament, and I thought we'd be. So all of a sudden, Carter said, "No, we're not going. No Olympics for no Olympic Games for America," which was sad for the athletes because it hurt their career. When you win the Olympic gold medal, in sports, it opens up a lot of doors for you.
Yes, I can understand. So you think if the U.S. had the U.S. compete at the 1980 Olympic Games, you think that many of the boxers of the U.S. would have won a medal, a gold medal?
Of course, because we had good boxers. So every Olympics, we always have good boxers.
Mhm.
76, 5 golds, and silver and a bronze. But nowadays, the Americans don't have gold. They don't have nothing. They don't get anybody in the finals. They don't have good boxers like we had back then.
Yes, I could see that lately. Then in the United States, there's not that many gold medals or fighters that bring like a gold like a medal, an Olympic medal, like we seen in the 70s, 70s and the 80s. As we see, can you think of any particular reason of why this happens? So,
Uh, I think it's coaching is a different style of coaching, and of course the MMA. There's the USB, the kickboxing, pro boxing is taking a lot of athletes also. So that and the coaching, I think, is different.
okay. And when you say like that coaching is different, it means like that they're not teaching probably that they're not teaching technique as they used to do as they used to in the 80s and the 70s. So how do you see it?
Yeah, I think the teaching is much different, and I I I've seen some coaching. I've been at some gyms where the coaching was very lack, and the coach didn't do anything. Just sometimes he'd be shooting pool, sometimes he'd be talking to people, and he wouldn't even pay attention to the boxers.
Oh
Coach,
wow.
I used to run with my boxers. I uh, uh, do all the mitt work with them, and I used to teach them all the time because it's my job. Read books on how to coach. I learned how to do the proper coaching. Years later, I got away from America because I knew that even though I was coach of the year 3 times, they wouldn't allow me because I was married to a young black girl. I had children that are mixed. They had I had long hair. They were very prejudiced against me. So to Asia, of course, then I got to coach Asian games. I coached Philippine Asian games. Coached games. They would never let me coach the Olympic Games in America, and it was very sad for me.
Okay. So tell me, so how was that experience of like teaching and living in Thailand? Because you know that the U.S., the United States, is a country, is a with its culture, and Thailand is a different country, a different culture. So what was that experience of living, working, and teaching in Thailand? How will you compare the U.S. to Thailand?
Uh, the boxing in Thailand, of course, the number one sport is kickboxing, uh, and not boxing. Boxing, but many that were on my team and during the when I was coaching in 1984 in Thailand, many of my boxers were kickboxers. So I had to teach them about jabbing. I had to teach them about footwork, about different techniques. So I had one boxer that was. Then also the problem in Thailand, every coach wants to be in the corner. So they're always trying to push me out and put the Thailand coach in because they want the Thailand coaches to get recognized. But they gave me at the Olympic Games, we had 6 boxers on our Thailand. So they said to me, okay, you can have this one. He gave me one boxer, and the rest of them was coached by the other coaches. My boxer made the finals of the Olympic Games, and the other boxers, and the other 5 boxers didn't even win one fight. They won nothing. And I
Wow.
knew I got them better than that. My boxer made the finals, and I thought he won the gold. But we were fighting in America. The boxer we were fighting is Jerry Page. Jerry Page, I coached him the year before at the Pan American Games because I was a coach at the Pan American Games in America. But I thought we won the. My boxer got a silver, and that was the first silver Thailand ever had in any sport in the Olympic Games. So they were happy with that.
Okay, and do you remember in which Olympic Games did this happen?
1984.
Okay, okay, 1984. So yes, I can understand that it like unlike the United States, the main sport in Thailand is Muay Thai kickboxing because besides their fists, they use kicks, knees, elbows. Yes, I can understand that.
Yes, but also in America, I was a national coach for the national team, and I coached in the for a while, and then I moved to Muhammad Ali Sports. Muhammad Ali people come to me and they said, "Come to us, and you can bring your boxers, whoever you want, and work with our program." So give you more money, and we'll give you housing. So I went with the Muhammad Ali Sports, which was a better for me than the national team because being a national coach, I still can't be the Olympic coach. So that's why I went with the Muhammad Ali Sports, and it was a great program. We boxed in different countries. We boxed, of course, in America also against boxing. We boxed in different places with. Muhammad Ali was always with us. But
Oh wow. Okay, okay. Listen, I forgot to ask you. Like growing up, which fighters that you like to watch?
I like some of the old styles. In fact, you wouldn't believe it or not, Rocky Marciano came to my gym and was 50 and 0. And they always talk about Mary, whether it's the best boxer in the world, but actually Rocky. Marciano. Uh, he was 50-0 and he had never lost a fight. He came to my gym. I have a picture of the 9-year-old Leo Randolph and Rocky Lotrick together outside when he was leaving. And Rocky had his arm around Leo. And it's a great photo I have of them two together. And uh, Rocky Marciano died after that. Like 2 months later, he died in a plane crash.
Yes, we know. Wow. Yes, so I know that you must have heard about Marciano's plane crash, or and how do you react to Marciano's passing in that year? It was a very sad day for boxing, I imagine.
I agree with you. He was a very nice man. He talked to me. He talked to me about my boxers. He watched my boxers sparring, and he said, "Your boxers a lot better than I did." He gave my boxers a lot of compliments. He talked very nice to them. I was so happy to have him come. Of course, I had Muhammad Ali also came to my gym when he was during the boycott. He couldn't box because they stripped, they stopped him because he wouldn't go in the military. So he came to Tacoma, Washington to speak at the college. And one of my boxers was a Muslim boy, and he asked me, "Coach, you want me to get him to come to the gym?" And I said, "Of course, if you can." He said, "Yes, he'll be at the gym." And of course, Muhammad Ali came to our gym, and he sparred with a boxer, Hayes, one of my bigger boxers, and he talked to the boys, and he was very very nice with the boys, talking about them. They should go to school and listen to the coach, and he was very respectful. When I became the head of coach of the Muhammad team, we used to talk a lot of times because he'd always ask me questions about boxers.
Okay, and let me tell you, as you said that Muhammad Ali visit your gym. So what was it like to interact and spend some time or share time or interact with a legend like Muhammad Ali? How was it?
I enjoyed it a lot because he and I are the same age. We were born exactly the same year, and he would always ask me questions, especially in when I was coaching the Muhammad Ali team. He would always come to the gym and excuse me, and spar with the he was spar with amateur boxers. He'd always ask me questions. How do you coach these boys? How can you hard headed? I said, some of these boys came from my gym, so of course I can coach them with no problem. So I really enjoyed coaching the Ali team because we traveled a lot and we won. We fought the Joe Frazier team. Of course, Joe Frazier was the big name, and we beat his team on national TV.
Oh, okay. And okay. And besides Thailand, do you have the chance to coach or teach boxing in the Philippines?
Yes, I had. I coached pro boxing in the Philippines, not amateur boxing, only pro boxers. I did that for years, maybe about 4 years. But I also coached India in what they call the USB. It's the 5 round fights. It's like pro boxing. USB is very famous for different countries. So when I became a coach in India, I coached 2 contracts and one was for USB and one was for pro boxing. So in USB, we used to travel to we box in Russia, we box in Yugoslavia, we countries against other countries. Then the program was like this: one match would be in India once a month. One match would be outside. So I had to take boxers outside, 5 boxers, and then 5 boxers would box at home against another country. So what I did was my good boxers, I'd have them box at home because we want to win in front of our. It was on TV. We'd want to win. So when we go to Russia or another country, Afghanistan or I would take boxers the weaker ones, and we wouldn't win too many fights. But I didn't care. We weren't in India.
Okay. And so tell me, how was that experience of being able to not only coach boxing but also live in India? So what was that experience of coaching and living in India?
I enjoyed it a lot. The people were very respectful. I got a lot of respect from the national program. Program in India was not just Indian boxers; it was boxers from all over the world. Because we drafted boxers for USB, you could get any boxer you want. It doesn't have to be from your country. So I had boxers from Russia. I had uh, all kinds of different countries. I got boxers from different Poland. I had Germany, and we had boxers from other countries. So it was a good program for me because I could pick and choose who I wanted, and I would the coach, the manager would call me and say, "Who do you want?" And I'd say, "I want this country." They got a salary of about $3,000 a month to $5,000 a month. They got $1,000 if they won their fight, so they were making good money. Of course, I was getting $4,500 a month also, so I was happy with that good salary.
Oh, oh, good. Okay. And so tell me now, you mentioned that besides training in Thailand and coaching boxing and training in India, and you did now you did in the Philippines. So how was that experience of being able to train and not only live in a different culture like the Philippines? How was it?
Well, I've been in the Philippines a long time, but I also coached in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka had a boxing program, and I was a head coach there. And
Wow.
another coach there, another coach there with me. That was a very good program, but I didn't stay too long because uh, the facility, all the gyms there are always in a factory. They make clothes, and the gym was not a proper gym for me to coach in, so I didn't stay too long. So I had some problems with them. Sri Lanka is a nice program. I like the people there. They were nice people. And I went to like in Sri Lanka. I took boxers to Africa. We boxed in
Oh,
Madagascar and on the island, and we trained with the local boys. We trained with them every day, and then the last day we were there, we had boxing match, so we would fight them, and our boxers did real well. We won like out of maybe 10 matches, we won maybe three or four. We didn't win them all. Then they won the trophy, but we still had a good time there.
okay. From what I see that thanks to this career as a boxing trainer, you managed to not only to lead fighters to Olympic medals, to world championships, you also managed to know several countries like Germany, Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, Philippines. So you managed to know several countries and cultures thanks to this sport. So how
Also,
was?
also coach in Malaysia. I was a national coach in Malaysia.
Wow. In Malaysia. Wow.
I had a nice contract there. They gave me a new house. They gave me a good contract, and the boxers weren't that good, but uh, I took four boxers to what they call the Sea Games, which is 10 countries, and of course Thailand. We were boxing in Thailand, and I knew it was very difficult to win the gold because Thailand was it's in their country, and Thailand is the top boxing team. So, but I did get. I had four boxers. They all got a medal. We got three bronze and one silver, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, I see. So, wow, what a very interesting journey. So, You mean Germany, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, India, Thailand, Philippines, many countries thanks to the sport of boxing. So, how do you feel about that? The fact that you've been able to travel to several countries to coach the national teams of several countries in countries like Asia, not Thailand, the Philippines, among others in Asia. How's been that experience?
In those countries like that, I I first did coaching course. My the national program in America would send me to different countries to do coaching courses. Like I'd go to Cambodia, I'd go to Malaysia, or I'd go to Thailand and I'd teach a coaching course how to box. And then I would get hired that way because they liked my style of coaching. So it was not only from that, but I was exposed to other countries when I was a national coach because, like, I went to South America to Chile. When I went to Chile in South America, I had to spend 6 weeks down there, and I was coaching all the countries in South America, like Brazil, all the boxing teams would send two coaches to the my coaching course. Uh, I was exposed to, of course, different cultures, and at Chile, I wanted to watch their national championships, and there was a lot of problems there with the the way they ran the program, and I complained about uh, like some boxers had no mouthpiece, and some boxers weren't properly trained. But anyway, yeah, I would try to help all the countries that I went to.
Wow. Okay. And when you had to coach via train fighters, not only in Asia but also here in the United States, what do you think? What was the hardest, the most difficult part, or the hardest part of your job as a trainer here in the U.S. and in Asia? The hardest part.
The hardest part was getting them to listen to me as far as sometimes the language, the different language, and some of them didn't understand. But I'd always have a coach there that could speak both languages. One time in Africa, I went to Africa and did a coaching course for all Africa. And during the 1980 boycott, they came to Africa, and I had boxers from different countries that had coaches there. So I had one coach. He spoke seven languages, so I used him to help me a lot with
Wow.
other. But it was we, we stayed at a hotel on the beach. We uh, uh, trained there for a long time. Another country I went to, I spent a lot of time was Nepal. Nepal, and I was their national coach. Coach uh, South small tournament about 10.
Okay.
In fact, Nepal came. I, my, I had a trip to Florida. Uh, come there. All brought their boxers. They my house and stayed there for months. And, uh, to my gym in Florida home for boxing. Uh, trained my coach like my style, so I trained a lot of people in boxing. Very good boxing.
Okay. So tell me, if you're watching the you still if you're still watching boxing, so how do you see the state of the sport now?
Because you have girls now boxing, it's changed a little bit, and In fact, my gym in the Philippines, which was in Cebu, was they never allowed girls to box, and now they've had one. Now since I've gone, they've had one girl become a world champion. So girls boxing is also been effective, and in girls it's easier to be a champion because there's not that many girls in the sport. So be a champion, that's so hard to be a champion.
Yeah, I understand. Uh, let me ask you something. Is there any fighter or boxer that you like to watch today?
Uh, I like, of course, my Pac-Man is my favorite boxer. We were involved with his people, so I was around him, and I have pictures of him. So he was a favorite boxer of mine, of all the boxers, and the one that just fought, uh, the Mexican fought the American at middleweight. That was a good match also.
Yeah, Crawford. Crawford.
Crawford, yeah, that was a good match. I enjoyed that. I coached in Kansas City, so we went up to that area before and boxed a little bit. Uh, boxers, pro boxers in Kansas City, and amateur boxers. I've coached in a lot of places.
Yeah, I see that you coach in many places in the United States,
Yeah,
in Asia, because you mentioned Thailand, Malaysia, India, Sri Lanka, now Philippines.
uh, I've been to Russia 3 times. I've been to
Wow,
Africa 3 times.
wow, amazing. So you travel around the world, and thanks to the sport of boxing. So that must have been all great experiences for you to be able to know all these countries.
Yeah, of course, it was a great experience, and of course, it's good when you can go. You know, myself, when I coach my boxers at a tournament, I've never coached a tournament where I didn't get a medal. Every time we boxed at the nationals or at the international bouts, my boxers always got a medal. I didn't walk away with nothing, which I was happy because the boxers always feel good having a medal around their neck.
Wow. And so, and how's that feeling that you always manage to help a fighter win a man? How do you feel? How does the fighter feel when they always like win a medal or a championship?
Boxers feel confident because they know their coach is a good coach. Because when they win, we both win. It makes me look good and it makes them look good. So I always try to get to make sure they're in shape. The first thing is condition. The second is learning. You know, like Emmanuel Stewart, who was a friend of mine, was a great coach.
Oh wow!
Spars, he spars his boys every day, and of course, I would never do that. I think sparring every day is damaging to the brain, body. My boxers only spar twice a week. That's a maximum. I don't want them sparring more than that because I don't want damage done. And I had a boxer that was my great boxer, David Armstrong. He went to Emmanuel Stewart because I was gone. I was over different countries. So he told me I'm going to go box for Emmanuel. I said, okay, David, go. Then David told me later, Coach, it's very hard to go with Emmanuel Stewart's gym because the first day I arrived there on the plane, I have to spar.
Oh wow!
Not in shape to spar, but to spar. Well, David passed away very early age of damage to the brain, and I blame it on the boxing in Detroit because of the too much sparring. My gym never had sparring like that. David died very young, and we went. I went with Leo, and I went to the hospital to see David. Was in a place where he couldn't talk, he couldn't do nothing. He was just like a mummy. He couldn't speak to you or nothing. It was very sad to see him.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that he died so like a few years ago. But you think like the sparring, the constant sparring and the at Stewart's gym is what led to his decline in health?
To me, I think so because David and his twin brother. The Armstrongs. I had four boxers from their family. David and his twin brother Dennis were also they ran track and field, and they were very good in track and field. They were very good distance runners. Uh, David was, of course, one of my great boxers. He's a national spokesman for the national team when he was an amateur boxer. People would call him. If boys had trouble, they would call him because he was on the board of directors. The the boxing people. He was he was elected by the boxing people to be a spokesman because of all his experience. You know, he went to the '72 Olympic Games, and I lied about his age. I said he was 17, but he wasn't 17. He was 16 years old. Why? Why? He won the nationals. Why shouldn't he be able to go to the Olympic Games? He's a national champion at 106, and so nobody knew that. At that time, they didn't know he was only 16. So because I changed his birth certificate to 17. So I think I didn't do nothing wrong. He was an actually he beat all the boxers in the trials. He was a winner. And, they went to New York for the box off, the military academy. Uh, him and Ray both beat their boxers. So why shouldn't he go to the Olympic Games, even though he was only 16?
Yeah, I can see. Oh, yeah, yes, I can see. So tell me, uh, okay, you told me about the state of boxing. Oh, yes, okay, we talk about the state of boxing. So, but do you think like the sport of boxing can improve today? The state can improve today, or probably go back to the way it was a few decades ago?
Yes, uh, the way to figure how your boxers are doing is the Olympic Games. How many gold you get? How many silver you get? How many bronze? That's how you know you're going against everybody in the world. That's how you know your boxers. Like '76 team, the year I was coaching Leo, uh, they had 5 golds. You think America can get 5 golds the next Olympics? Hell no, they're not going to get 5 golds. They're not going to get one. Why?
Well, they came because of that technique, or there's not like a good coaching. So how do you see it?
Yeah, because of the coaching. Because I think the level of coaching is not that good.
Okay, yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Very interesting that you said that you had like a champion, like kind of a friendship with Emmanuel Stewart. We know that Emmanuel Stewart trained great fighters like Thomas Hearns, Lennox Lewis, among others. So how was it to have like a friendship and
He
interact with a great trainer like Stewart?
was uh he was a friend of mine, of course. I respected him a lot. He would call me at the next camp. How's my boxers doing? What training camp I would supposed to do. Okay. He told me a story. He said, when I start coaching, The only thing I wanted to do is have a boxing team like Joe Clough. That's he said, I've always respected you. And I it's a great compliment from him because his boxers were also great boxers. You know, he was we won the national trophy, and of course, probably his team won the national trophy a few times also. So we both had good boxers. In fact, one time as a national coach, I had one of his boxers. If you're a coach of a boxer, you can coach your boxer if you're there. He was there at the national bout, and I was in a corner with his boxer. He, he told the boxer, "Listen to Joe. Joe will tell you what to do." He let me be his coach of his boxer, where other coaches wouldn't do that. They would only let me put the stool in, and they didn't want me to talk. They wanted to do the talking to be on TV. But Emmanuel Stewart wasn't like that at all. He respected that you were the coach, and that was a great thing about him.
Oh, okay. So tell me, what do you think should happen uh, in it should happen so boxing can improve and probably go back to what it was like a couple of days ago. No, not a couple of days ago, like a couple of decades ago.
Yeah, the national programs should be uh, more strict as far as the training and make sure the boxers are in condition and do the proper training. You only can see that at the national camp because I spent many hours in Colorado Springs national training camp. There, you you can learn about the boxers and which ones are doing good, which ones aren't doing so good. You know, like Oscar De La Hoya, he could outrun any boxer at the camp, and I would run with boxers also, and he was a very fast boxer runner. He was always the first guy in the gym. He was always the last to leave. He was that example. Of course, a gold medal winner. He won a world title. He was a good boxer to train. He was good to work with. So I met a lot of good boxers at the national camp. And of course, they weren't my boxers, but they were still like in our camp. You know, they would listen to you.
Yeah, I can understand. So what? Okay. One more thing. How did that how did that Tacoma that amateur boxing program in Tacoma, Washington started?
It started from a small program. It was very small because I had no support. I had no equipment. And then we went and slowly got, as I learned to coach, reading books and studying about coaching. And then the boxers are also asking questions, and some of them even complain. They would want me to talk louder, or want me to yell at them more, and discipline them in the corner. So that was something boxers they want the coach to discipline them. Sometimes even international boxing, I had a boxer named Mark Freeland from New York, and Mark was I met him at the I ran a training camp for the Junior Olympics, and it was like so crowded. But anyway, Mark Freeland became my friend there because he was an amateur boxer. He won the gold medal, and he boxed pro world champion. But he would tell me, "Coach, don't wrap my hands tight. I don't like tight wraps." And I said, "Okay, okay." Then he'd say, "Coach, yell at me too much because just talk to me at a normal voice." Okay, okay. You can learn from the boxers also because they know how they want to be coached and they know how they want their hand wrapped. So you learn the things like that about boxers. And then from then on, I would ask boxers, "Want a tight wrap or a loose wrap?" Most of them always want tight.
Okay, so Wow, that starting a boxing program with, like you said, like with no support and no equipment. And how hard was that for you?
Very difficult because they gave me a they gave me a closet to train boxers in. It was a basketball closet, balls. So terrible. We'd break the light sometime when the kids would be boxing because there was a light bulb. It was just lousy. So I was started moving to be part of the gym. They tell the boys don't shoot baskets while we're training. And then when they put me in another back room, it was a lot better. I could have a real program back there. That worked out a lot better. But at first, it was very lousy, and also the vehicles were very bad. They they had, they had vehicles that uh, there was no floorboards were open. There was no heater in the car. Really a lot of problems. So I bought my own van so I could travel with my boxers. First, I bought a truck to travel. In fact, there's one boy from the boys club a few years ago. He wrote me an email. He said, "Coach, I want to tell you something. Thank you for giving me a ride home every night because the boys club's on a hill, so I would have to drive uphill to drop my athletes off. So a lot of boxers that from them non-boxers would get in my truck, drop them off up the top of the hill. Many years he tells me, "Thank you for giving me a ride home." And when I was at the boys club,
Okay, okay. And now you go back and you think about all the fighters that you train, the boxers that you lead, you help to win a gold medal, a world championship in pro boxing, uh, all the countries that you visit. So how do you feel about your career?
I feel very satisfied. I think I'm very happy with what I did with the boxers, and in fact, my boxers in the Philippines, uh, last about 6 months ago, I took 3 big bags of equipments. I've had a lot of equipment. 3 big bags of equipments to their gym because God, it was flooding there. I got so wet I had to buy a new pair of shoes. But the equipment they were really happy to get the gloves. In fact, I have a pair here that's signed by Pac-Man. I could show you just a minute.
Wow.
The gloves signed by Pac-Man.
Oh my goodness.
He,
Nice.
I was teaching at boxing at a college here in the Philippines, and he came to our gym. And, he signed 4 pair of gloves. So all the equipment I gave to the people at my old gym in Cebu, two of the gloves were had signatures from Pac-Man. So I don't know what they did with them. But the third pair was a bought from somebody in America asked me could they buy a pair of the gloves signed by Pac-Man, and I said to them, uh, "Yeah, give me $250 and you can have them." So anyway, I kept one pair for myself.
Oh wow. Wow. What a very nice detail and what a nice gesture from Pacquiao by Pacquiao.
Yeah, yeah, he's a nice person. And he's still a nice person. And I coached Freddie Roach, his coach. I coached him in amateur boxing once. We boxed in his
Wow.
on the East Coast, and he was an amateur boxer. I think 106 or 112. I used him in the bout. Uh, he uh, he was he's a good amateur boxer, but not the world champion. But he was a good amateur boxer.
Wow. So what a very very interesting You coach Freddie Roach also.
Yeah, yeah. Like a boxer passed away, a coach, uh, Tommy Brooks. Tommy Brooks also not not a long time, but he was from Archie Moore. Archie Moore was coach in California, and then he wanted to box at my gym because he was good friends with a boxer named Jerry Bennett. So he got shipped up to Tacoma, Washington, the Air Force Base, started boxing with. And then, of course, he coached Mike Tyson in many of his fights. So he coached a lot of good boxers in his year of coaching after he left amateur boxing.
Yeah. And now that you coach, now that you mentioned Freddie Roach, now that you see look at his career, not in pro boxing career, but as a trainer, and you look all the fighters that he trained, that he helped become world champions, and including Pacquiao. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think he's been a good coach because a lot of people respect him. Of course, now he has Parker, not quite so healthy now, but he's still doing the coaching, uh, not giving up with his bad health.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I know. So anyway, we can end it here. So well, Joe, thank you for being in my space. Thank you for being here, and well, the best of luck. And it was so great and so good to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.